Found another one, Hebrews. Found another one, Hebrews. He real wicked, and he working for the beast too. I tried to contact this brother. His name is Emperor Atheist. If you listen to him, and you know these guys is real cunning. These guys are real cunning in these last days. You know what I'm saying? They working for the beast. And we know during our slavery days on the plantation, just about everybody believed in the creator. And we ain't had no black atheists walking around. So we know that's a new doctrine for the so-called black people descended from the transatlantic slave trade. We know that's a new doctrine. The black atheist. Now this individual say he don't believe in the creator, God, or the title that the Babylonian scribes created. You know what I'm saying? To identify the creator. You know, the majority of us call the creator Yahweh. You see what I'm saying? Alright, this brother right here, you see, they done found the way to get paid by the beast. You know what I'm saying? They know that if they chant down the Israelite heritage and people believe in them and follow them, that kind of secure, the Jews kind of secure their position with our heritage. You see what I'm saying? You see, these individuals are helping the people who we abandon our heritage to. You see, so I can't just really point no fingers all the way at the Jews, even though they played a big part in our downfall, as well as the Egyptians. You see what I'm saying? This black culture that he say that he identify with and support. You know, it's going to be tied into the Nile Valley. That's what the whole bunch of them that try not to say, well, I ain't an Egyptian follower, but I believe in Nile Valley culture, dealing with the Sahara and so forth. Okay, these individuals right here, if you listen to him, you know, he's slick and cunning, because I think he kind of like know the difference a little bit between the Jewish history and what's really Hebrew history. If you listen to him, and he mostly be talking to them groups, them ISUPK, GMS, ICIU, you know, them camps, the groups that we Hebrews that's not affiliated with the Jewish doctrine, who know that those organizations' history is off. Well, we call them the camps. You see what I'm saying? All right, this is the Israelite Brotherhood. We ain't no camp. You see what I'm saying? It's bigger than the camp. You see what I'm saying? The camp's going to be using Jewish history. We use just straight up Israelite history, and I show you the difference between Jewish history and Hebrew Israelite history. I got a lot of videos on YouTube showing this. Okay, it's a whole bunch of these brothers popping up, you know what I'm saying, trying to denounce the Israelite heritage, and they getting paid. You see what I'm saying? Some of them doing it knowingly, and some of them doing it unknowingly. You know what I'm saying? That's like him. He's so confused. He don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? He don't know what's going on. And if you listen to him, you know, he know that them Hebrews using the history that's off, that don't represent us, right? Okay, he trying to push that as if that is true and we are off because that history is off. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, they are off because they using that Jewish history, but we are the Hebrews still. You see what I'm saying? So that's where you failing to understand, and I'm going to show you this. And you better get on your knees and pray to the Creator. I done spoke to you already on Facebook. We done exchanged the message, and I let you know that this was coming. See, the Creator will work in mysterious ways, and He's showing you what time it is. All praise be to Almighty Yah. All praise be to Almighty Yah. Listen to Him.
The true God destroyer.
He the atheist, a true God destroyer. Listen to Him.
Black Hebrew Israelites. Now, you know, some brothers might say, well, man, you know, Emperor Atheist, why you going at the Black Hebrew Israelites? And I'm not out to, let me make this clear. I'm not out to destroy or to vilify the Black Hebrew Israelites, but I am out to tell the truth.
See,
and to
his truth. You see, if you believe that wickedness that he finna say, then he ain't telling the truth. Because I got proof that we are the Hebrews. You see, let's clear this up real quick, and then I'm going to get back to a few of these individuals that's doing this wicked stuff, trying to denounce the Israelites' heritage because of those camps using Jewish history. You see what I'm saying? And they playing off that, and the Hebrews know that that camp's history is off and not right. It's like the 10 lost tribes doctrine. All the camps use the 10 lost tribes doctrine. All the camps are wrong with that. All the camps use the 70 AD myth, saying that the Hebrews went into Africa in 70 AD, and then that's a myth. You see what I'm saying? That's a lie. You see, it's some people that we Hebrews abandoned our heritage to. It's some people that we Hebrews abandoned our heritage to, created all those myths, and all those myths that they created are working for them today. You know what I'm saying? They are very wise. They are very wise, and they are very savvy with creating circumstances that can benefit them later on in history, like planting the seed, and then, you know what I'm saying, that false knowledge grow. You see, they planted them seeds with that false history and myths about the Israelites after we abandon our heritage to them. I keep saying that, and I'm going to go into detail, and I'm going to show this. All praise be Almighty Yah. So maybe these individuals can come back to their heritage and start fighting for what's right and fighting for our heritage, because they turning Hebrews away from their heritage, and that's helping the system. It's like they help destroying their own selves. It's like they help destroying their own kind. So they destroying their own selves. You see what I'm saying? And it's a few of them that's doing that. And they doing it for the money that's finna collapse. See, the system finna collapse. And the American dollar ain't no good no more. So it's like they being used like an old dirty rag. You see what I'm saying? It's finna be thrown away. Alright, check this out. These myths right here. The 10 lost tribes. Israelites ran into Africa in 70 AD. Everybody is an Israelite. Demigod worship. You see what I'm saying? You see, all those are myths. All those myths that was created after we abandoned our heritage to the Babylonian scribes. See, in 722 BC, while we Hebrews were slipping on Egyptian religion, and basically the Egyptians tricked us out of our heritage. I got videos showing this same Nile Valley culture that he say that he represent, and these guys represent, that is also affiliated with the Egyptian culture, where that culture destroyed us and tricked us out of our heritage. You see, that culture, the Egyptian culture, and peoples had to do trade on the other side of the promised land, and this was the quickest way. Them people couldn't go all the way down here and go around and trade. And us having that covenant from Moses was an entirely new covenant. Even Prophet Abraham, Isaac, and our father Jacob didn't have the covenant that Moses come with. You see what I'm saying? Even though they was followers and true believers in the Creator, when all around them was a Canaanite culture that had been there for thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you know, when the prophet Abraham left Mesopotamia around 2091 BC, you know, the Amorite Canaanite culture had been there for like since 2400 BC, 2500 BC, and it went all the way from Babylon, Mesopotamia, all the way to the doors of Egypt. And that culture is what created Sodom and Gomorrah, the gay and lesbian camps. I'll go into that history too. You know, it's a long history, and we cannot sum our history up in just a debate or an hour or two. So these guys been getting away because ain't nobody been able to just explain our heritage and then show the history with it. So, you know, these guys been kind of exploiting the Hebrews, you know what I'm saying, and exploiting us, period. You know, for the simple fact is that those other groups that they be confronting and talking to use Jewish history. You see what I'm saying? Okay, in 722 BC, it was some Babylonian scribes placed in our land from Sephardim. And then let me do a little history on that, because this, you know, get real deep. And if you believe in the Creator, He gonna open your eyes and you can understand what's going on. You see what I'm saying? And me, He done took the lowest, a person that ain't got nothing from nowhere, and you know, and just bless me with the knowledge, and I can show, you know, my brothers and sisters what happened to us, and I got videos, you know, showing this in detail. Okay, Sipper, look, you see that word Sipper? Sipper is Sephardim. Sipper is where the Babylonian scribes, the people that's responsible for Babylon's history, they go back to Sumer, the Sumer Empire, the Akkadian Empire, in the Babylonian Empire, and the Neo-Babylonian Empire. You know, and I bet you some of them was there doing the Chaldean takeover of Babylon. You know, they was all kings, and Babylon is founded by Amorites, Mari. You know, this whole area right here is founded by Amorites. You know, the Amorites are the founder of Mesopotamia, Babylon. You know, they the first people to build a civilization, to build an administrative organization. I got a video showing how Tazarach Amorite was thrown out by Canaan, his father, in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, and how the Creator saved old Tazarach Amorite and gave them a civilization, and how they turned wicked. And they turned real wicked and didn't follow the Creator. And that's that Canaanite Amorite culture that we Hebrews were to displace coming out of Egypt. I guess the Creator having us in Egypt and us seeing what's going on there, and then knowing the wickedness that was going on in Canaan, we shouldn't have wanted no parts with now one of those civilizations. And then Moses come with that entirely new culture, and that culture was to put the Canaanite culture out of existence. You know, that was our job, to go in there and to destroy them and their wickedness. Basically like a civilization that's set up today. All the wickedness that's going on today, and you compare this wickedness compared to the nations in the east that's not up under the influence of this nation, and you'll see that them people live entirely different and stuff, entirely different culture, and how this culture is real wicked. That's because the people who develop and control this land have roots to Babylon. You know what I'm saying? And they have roots, you know, they basically control our heritage. Okay, in Babylon, in Sipper and Nipper, that's going to be like twin cities on the Euphrates. And you couldn't be a king nothing in the Mesopotamia area unless you got consecrated from there. And these are the people that held Babylon's history of all the gods. The Nebo, they main god. That's a scribe writing god. You see what I'm saying? And then you got Murdoch, you got Noragel, you got all the Babylonian gods. Well, they're responsible for its history and been responsible for Babylon's history for like almost 2,000 years before we became a nation and a people. These people had governments and civilization, and they was defining the meaning of words. They had dictionaries, and they was the media back then. You couldn't do no transaction without the Babylonian scribes, you know, taking note of it and doing their jobs. And these are what the Babylonian scribes look like. From Sephardim, they are called Sephardi Jews. You know, the word Sephardim translate into Sephardi, Sephardic, and Sephardim. These are the people that was placed in our heritage in 722 BC while we was on Egyptian religion. You see, the Egyptians had tricked us long ago when they had gave Joseph Asenath. You know, after Prophet Joseph answered Pharaoh's dreams and stuff, and Pharaoh wasn't able to answer his dreams through his priests and musicians, then they put the whole Egyptian religious system at stake. You see what I'm saying? And Pharaoh, being slick, gave Joseph Asenath. And Asenath had two sons, Ephraim, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Ephraim, his descendants, with that golden calf worship, as could be seen with Jeroboam when he went to Egypt. And then after Solomon's death, he come out of Egypt with the two golden calves. This would be in 931 BC. We would stay on the Egyptian religion for 300 years till King Josiah cleaned it up. And then the Egyptians would come out and kill him and put his sons on the throne. And we would go back to Egyptian religion. And we would go into Africa. And there we will be enslaved and fulfill all the curses that Prophet Moses said will happen to the Hebrews. It's that easy. It's not even that hard. But I'm going to show this. It's real easy now. So when these dudes come with that stuff saying, y'all ain't the Hebrews, or we ain't the Hebrews, you can instantly show them how the Hebrews went into Africa in the book of Jeremiah and how they never returned home. After Babylonian was defeated by the Persians, and that 1%, the exiles that come home from Babylon, how they was never reunited with the Queen of Heaven worshipers. And we represent them, us that's in the transatlantic, that was taken in the transatlantic slave trade. We are descended from them. And how we know that this is Egypt is the obelisk that we was enslaved with in Egypt, in Africa. The Cleopatra needle is what they call it. It was erected around 1450 BC at the beginning of our bondage, or while we was in bondage in Egypt. And that obelisk is in New York. This is the Egypt, you know, and they got all kind of Egyptian symbolism, you know, the Masonic lodges, the people, the architectures, and the people who go in to set the Egyptian system up founded this country. And this is a Babylonian Egyptian system. This is daughter Babylon, because the Sephardi Jews, the people that left Spain, the founders of this country, who did transactions with the natives, kind of like set this country up. And they got the oldest synagogue up in New York somewhere that's been here for a long time. And everybody know that the Sephardi Jews come over. They are the ones that basically started the transatlantic slave trade. And it's a brother named Tony Martin, Dr. Tony Martin, go into this in detail. And he'll tell you how his dealings with them people after he discovered the archives in the history that they left behind, because it was so vast and for so long it was impossible to hide it, and how they had records of their dealings in the transactions with the slaves and how they controlled it and stuff. So, you know, that's known history, but, you know, all that was fulfilling the will of the Creator, you know. So, you know, that's done and past, and we passed that, and we putting it together now. But these individuals is telling lies, and they trying to keep us out of our heritage. Okay, let's go to when Joseph was given Asenath. When Joseph was given Asenath, I shouldn't have to read all this. And we know that Pharaoh didn't believe in the Creator, as I have proven through the other videos, how, you know, Pharaoh didn't want to let us go from Egypt, and how Pharaoh tried to keep us slaves and tied down in Egypt. You know, we was making bricks. We was making bricks in Egypt for Pharaoh and them, and for their system. You know, we was building they system in Egypt. You know, we was building the Egyptian monuments and so forth. You know, Pharaoh didn't believe in the Creator. And I'm gonna show this. So this let us know that we shouldn't be fooling with nothing Egyptian, because the Egyptians didn't believe in the Creator, not the Creator of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it's important that we believe in that Creator, because that Creator, you can see the fruits of his work by what happened to us in our history and how it lined up with the curses. And Deuteronomy chapter 28. Okay, Hebrews, if you go to, I think it's Exodus 5. That'll be Exodus 5. This particular Pharaoh, you know, it was like two religious, two systems of Egyptians. You had Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. Upper Egypt gonna be controlled by the Nubian, Ethiopian-like stock from the east side of the Nile. You know, they'll wiggle their way in and take over Egypt, and the Lower Egypt was controlled, where all the pyramids is on the right side of the Nile, the west side of the Nile, where the people who founded Egypt and the founders of the dynasties and the builders of the pyramid was from the Sahara, and they lived in Upper Egypt, and we was in Egypt, you know, during that time when the Africans from the Sahara controlled Upper Egypt. And then, you know, they had a dynasty change. And then, you know, but even that Pharaoh was wicked and evil, because he gave Joseph Asenath. You know, even though Joseph, you know, it probably wasn't no Hebrew women and stuff around, because we had, you know, hadn't come into Egypt, you know, Jacob and his, you know, our father Jacob and his sons yet. And Joseph was given Asenath by old slick Pharaoh, after Joseph answered his dreams. Now, this old Pharaoh is going to still be looking out for the Egyptian system. You see what I'm saying? He's still going to be looking out for his people when he gave Joseph Asenath. And that's the priest of On's daughter. Now, this priest, Partapari, is like the head boss of the whole Egyptian religious system. Now, Joseph is giving his daughter. Now, that's going to be a big thing. Joseph even say he almost forgot his father's house. You know, Joseph probably giving everything. Wasn't lacking nothing. And then he ended up with the priest's daughter. You see what I'm saying? They was trying to steal Joseph's son, a soul. Alright? And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zephaniah Peninnah, and he gave him to wife. This is Genesis 41, chapter 41, verse 45. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zephaniah Peninnah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Partapari, priest of On. And Joseph went out all over Egypt. Oh, and then when you get to verse 50, it says, and unto Joseph were born two sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Partapari, priest of On, bare unto him. Now that obelisk that's in New York that we was enslaved with, when the Nubians, the people, the Africans from the east side of the Nile came on from Upper Egypt, took over Lower Egypt, you know what I'm saying? That obelisk was erected, the Cleopatra needle, and it's in New York at the beginning of our slavery. This is going to be a little while, you know, after Joseph passed, and, you know, we in Egypt, and, you know, they start, you know, the Africans from the east side of the Nile, the Nubian stock, the Ethiopian Nubian stock, enslaved us and made us build bricks. You know what I'm saying? That's like right now today. You know, we'll say, oh, we Africans, we the African Americans, and that's a known fact that them peoples from Africa ain't never came to redeem us or bring us to the promised home. Or even to Africa after all this time. You know, it's a known fact that you could sell a boat up to any country in the world. Sell a boat up or ship up to any country, and, you know, they ain't gonna do nothing. And, you know, we could have made it out to the 12 miles out in the ocean and got on some ships and made it back to Africa, but they ain't never sent for us. And that's a UN a treaty, an international treaty that's been around for a long time. They could have been came and sailed some ships up to America and asked us if we want to come home and stuff. They ain't never did that. And America can't do nothing. 12 miles out in the water is international waters. Anybody can be out there. And they ain't never tried to come get us. Them folks don't care nothing about us because we the Hebrews. And it was the Egyptians that tricked us out our heritage, the Hamites. All right. Joseph giveth Asenath. You know, this is Genesis 41, and then he have two sons. All right, and Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, and Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for Yah said he had made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second called he Ephraim, for Yah had caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. You see what I'm saying? So Joseph having those 2 sons, the granddaddy when Joseph out doing his thing, that the granddaddy gonna be installing the Egyptian doctrine, you know what I'm saying, in the kids. And you can kind of see this a little bit when you look at, first let's see old Pharaoh that come on, that put us in bondage, didn't believe in the creator. If you go to Exodus 5:2, and prophet Moses had went in to ask Pharaoh to let us go. And Pharaoh said this, and after Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, "This saith the Elohim Yah of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness." And Pharaoh said, Who is the Elohim that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not the Elohim, neither will I let Israel go. See what I'm saying? All right. That was awful right there. Pharaoh said he didn't believe in the creator. And they said, the Yah of the Hebrews had met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days journey into the desert and sacrifice unto the Yah our Elohim. You know what I'm saying? The Elohim our Yah. And Pharaoh didn't want to let us go. We was making bricks. We was making bricks for the Egyptian economy. Egypt must have had a boom. And we was making the bricks. We was making the bricks for the establishments and stuff. Meant for their houses and stuff. The Egyptians had brick houses and stuff. And this is where the brick houses of the day come from. So the Egyptians had brick houses, and Pharaoh ain't gonna want to let us go. You know what I'm saying? Pharaoh ain't gonna want us to let us go. And Pharaoh and them had some gay stuff going on in Egypt too. The same stuff that's going on here went on in Egypt and in Babylon. You see what I'm saying? The Hamite culture, it got all this stuff with it too. So the Egyptians wasn't straight, and the Creator wanted us to get up out of there, to come worship Him, and He gave us a new culture that wasn't like the Egyptian and the Amorite culture that was around. And us having that new culture would have put the Egyptians' lights out. You see what I'm saying? So the Egyptians gonna kind of make sure that they make us stumble and we fall. You see what I'm saying? So, Pharaoh gave Joseph Asenath, and from that union, you know what I'm saying? Also, you can see when we exited Egypt that some Egyptians, a mixed multitude, left with us. So that's going to be Joseph's sons and them relatives. You see what I'm saying? They going to probably get down with us too, that mixed multitude, because that Nubian East African stock done come on, and probably, these folks had to get on down too. All right. And if you go to Exodus 12:38, and it says, and a mixed multitude went up also with them, flocks and herds, very much cattle. So then that's going to be them Queen of Heaven worshipers, them calf worshipers. You see what I'm saying? That stayed embedded in our culture and stuff, that caused us to slip and lose our heritage. And I'm going to show this, All right, so we know the Egyptians left with us. So then when you get to Exodus 32, and you will see when Prophet Moses went up to get that new culture that's different from the Canaanite culture that was around. You see, that Canaanite culture that was around was wicked and evil, and the Creator gave us a new culture to displace that Amorite culture. And I'm going to show you how the Amorite culture was given the start by the Creator when old Tazareth Amorite was thrown out. Tazareth is the Hebrew word for what people call leprosy. You see what I'm saying? Amorites was born with it. Canaan's sons were born with it, and Canaan was abhorred. But anyway, back to Exodus. When we Exodus, we already know that Pharaoh didn't believe in the Creator, and that Pharaoh and them gave Joseph Asenath, and that from that union, Manasseh and Ephraim. And we know that when we left Egypt, the mixed multitude, some of them Egyptians left with us. So we know them facts. You see what I'm saying? All right. And then when Moses go up to get the law, all right, and then you get to Exodus 32, and it says, and when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man that brought us out of the land of Egypt, we know not what become of him. All right, so Aaron get their little stuff, you know what I'm saying? And all the people broke off the golden earrings which were in their hands and brought it to Aaron. And you know what I'm saying? They done made the golden calf, you know what I'm saying? And the two, he made it a molten calf. And they said, these be the gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. See how easy it is for us to fall out the way? It's been like that the whole time. It's been like that the whole time. We all messed up. But the Creator said he gonna bring us back. And that's us Hebrews just trying to get our heritage together. Other than that, it's a lost cause because we are so small and our culture is so small. What we trying to do with this big old world. But the Creator gonna pull it off because the truth is here now. So, you know, we gonna come into our heritage and we gonna know this truth right here. So we know the Egyptians left with us, and then when Moses gone, the head leader, the head man, that, you know what I'm saying, we go with the golden calf. You see what I'm saying? And we know that after Moses come back, that, you know what I'm saying, we had to wander around for those 40 years and so forth. All right, we know, all right, Moses passed away about 1406 BC. That's when the prophet Joshua come on. All right, then we start to come into the promised land. See, we only got 818 years in the promised land. You know what I'm saying? I can show you that easy. You know what I'm saying? We only got 818 years in the promised land. All right, Prophet Joshua coming to the promised land, and then, you know, Prophet Joshua passed away around about 1375 BC. 1375 BC, that's going to be the starting of the book of Judges. We had problems the whole time. When the main leader's gone, you know what I'm saying, we start falling off, and we start doing what the Canaanites and the Amorites and the people who we were sent in to destroy, we start doing what they was doing. You see what I'm saying? They had already been there for a long time, and the Creator gave them a culture. And I'm gonna show you this. Let's get this out the way too, and then I'm gonna tie the Egyptian religion back in. See, when we left Egypt, we was going in to get rid of the Canaanite culture that was there, that had turned wicked, and they wickedness was Sodom and Gomorrah, the gay stuff. See, when Prophet Abraham came to the northeast African area of what they call Canaan, and then those people from Mesopotamia, them kings came and robbed them Amorites, and then Prophet Abraham saved them, you know what I'm saying? And then Melchizedek came out and gave Prophet Abraham, you know, props because he was recognized, you see, he was the last believer for the Amorites. You know, he was a Amorite priest, Melchizedek, and he went all the way back to when the Amorites had a good, clean culture. Melchizedek believed in the Creator, but it was at the end of their civilization, and it was like he was passing the baton over to Prophet Abraham when he gave Prophet Abraham his props. And Prophet Abraham descendants, us, were supposed to come with a new culture to get rid of that Canaanite culture that had went wicked, that was wicked for a long time, you know, because, you know, Canaan gonna go all the way back to Prophet Noah days. You see what I'm saying? So the Canaanite culture been around for a long time, but they had turned wicked. And if you look at this right here, you know, he gonna tell you prophet Ezekiel was a real wise prophet, and this prophet was taken to Babylon during our last days on the promised land around about 595 BC to 573 BC. You know, his book gonna go about 20 some years, 25 years or something like that. But this is the prophet, and his history is a must. And when he was going to Babylon, he left a lot of message in codes that could be understood today in this day and time, because we have the archives of Babylon available to us. All those scribing histories that the Babylonian scribes wrote, we have their history now. They at the apex of their civilization. It's over with now, and we're gonna have to start coming into our heritage. But if you read Ezekiel chapter 16, and it goes like this. And the word, and the word of the Elohim came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abomination, and say, This saith the Elohim Yah unto Jerusalem, Thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. Thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother an Hittite. And as for thy nativity in the day that thou was born, thy navel was not cut, neither was thou washed in water to supply thee. Thou was not salted at all, nor swallowed at all. So they done had him, old Tazarat Amorite, you know, because if you look in history, and them Jews will tell you themselves that the Amorite culture, or that the people of Palestine, they done found bones in caves where these folks got white skin and blue eyes and blonde hair. Been there for a long time. You see what I'm saying? Well, those were the Tazarite Canaanites right here. This is his start right here. The prophet Ezekiel telling you. You see what I'm saying? All right. I'm see. All right. And none pitied thee to do any of these unto thee. You know, after they was thrown out, he wasn't washed, his navel wasn't cut, he was all bloody and nasty, and the Creator had mercy on him. And we can't say who the Creator can have mercy on. All right, look, let me start this over. And as for thy nativity in the day that thou was born, thy navel was not cut, neither was thou washed in water to supply thee, neither was thou salted at all, neither swallowed at all. None I pitied thee to do any of these unto thee, to have compassion upon thee, but thou was cast out in the open field to the loathing of thy person in the day that thou was born. That's like the Creator always come to the nation of people that's downtrodden and cast out. That's like us. We at the bottom of the level. The people from the transatlantic slave trade, ain't nobody lower than us. You know what I'm saying? We at the bottom of the stool on the whole human chart. We have no authority. We make nothing. We in subjection, and our whole life is created and directed by others. You see what I'm saying? And the Tazarat Amorites was almost in a similar position. He was all messed up, you know, and the Creator had compassion on him. Like we praying that the Creator have compassion on us and bring us up out of this captivity, so these individuals can shut that noise up. You know, Pharaoh, G-City, and Emperor Atheist, and the real Merkaba, all those individuals that don't know no truth and trying to lead you out your heritage and working for the beast. All right, check this out. All right, the Tazarat Amorite, you know, when he was thrown out, this is Canaan's start, you know, and none I pity thee to do any of these unto thee, to have compassion upon thee, but thou was cast out in the open field to thy loathing of thy person in the day that thou was born. And when I passed by thee and saw thee polluted in thine own blood, I said unto thee, when thou was in thy blood, live. I said unto thee, when thou was in thy blood, live. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great, and thou art come to excellent ornament. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thy hair is grown, whereas thou was naked and bare. Now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, and behold, that time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee and covered thee nakedness. Yeah, I swear unto thee and entered into a covenant with thee, said the Elohim Yah, and thou becometh mine. Prophet Abraham was telling those Chaldeans, those Amorite folks that was taking him to Babylon, and those folks, the Hebrews to Babylon, they origin. You see what I'm saying? He was telling them they origin right there. Prophet Ezekiel did. You see what I'm saying? He told the Canaanite Amorite culture from Babylon that was taking them there. He was telling them that they found in they beginning. You see what I'm saying? And as you read, he'll tell you how the Amorites, how the Creator gave them everything, gave them a civilization, and then you can see that civilization in Humabari. They try to slick say, well, the laws that Moses got come from the Hamabarite covenant. Well, guess what? They was only given like 300 some laws, 200, 300 some laws, whereas the Creator, I think we had 613 that they count. Well, those Amorites had a culture before we did. You see what I'm saying? They had a culture before we did. Those Amorites did, and they lost their ways. Basically, how they slick tricked us out of our heritage. You know what I'm saying? They lost their heritage fooling with the Nephilims and the Rephilims. That's gonna be Canaan kids that come, Cain kids that come up out them caves, them mountains that had mixed with them, those angelic beings and stuff that produced them another form of Tazarat white skin. You see what I'm saying? And those individuals were wicked because Cain wasn't given the instructions that Seth was given when Cain was driven away from the Creator for killing his brother Abel. You see what I'm saying? And Cain was driven away, and he wasn't given no instructions of what's right and what's wrong. And he left a liar and a murderer. And that Nephilim and Rephilim represented that, and they mixed it with them Canaanite tribes. You see what I'm saying? All Canaan kids ran across them. You see what I'm saying? And Japhet kids ran across them. You see what I'm saying? So the Amorites was given a covenant before we Hebrews come into the land, and we Hebrews were supposed to get rid of that covenant. And as I showed, when Moses come out with the new culture, we was already had our back up against the wall because the Egyptians had planted their seed with Joseph being given Asenath, and they having them two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, and then those Egyptians leaving with us. You see what I'm saying? And then after Moses passed and Joshua come on around about 1406 BC, and then around about 1375 Joshua passed away, and then that's when we go into Judges, and we even, I can even show that when we was in the book of Judges, how the tribe of Benjamin got tricked by those Jebusite Amorites, how they was turned gay. The tribe of Benjamin gonna be the youngest tribe, you know what I'm saying, out of Joseph, Jacob's sons. You see what I'm saying? And they got turned out by the Amorites, you know what I'm saying? And we had to clean them up. I got a video explaining that too on YouTube, and I'm gonna make another one and go into deeper detail. See, these individuals got our history tore up, and there's some Hebrews that do know the history out here. And the Israelite Brotherhood is one, and I'm the lead man. This Israel being Israel. All right, check this out. All right, so we know doing Judges, we was having all them problems. You know what I'm saying? We ain't drive all the people out. We was all messed up. We was all messed up in Judges, And then, Samuel, Prophet Samuel come on around about, Prophet Samuel come on around about 1100 BC. We had from 1375 to 1100 BC is gonna be Judges. We had 275 years of just being messed up with the Amorite Canaanite culture. trying to sort that out and get in and get them out of the way and get our position. You know, when we fell off, because when we went into the promised land, we started kicking it with them folks instead of doing the job that the Creator told us to do. See, this wickedness that's here today in the form that it's in now wouldn't be here if we would have did the covenant, the new culture that Moses gave us when we come out of Egypt. That wasn't like the Egyptian and the Canaanite culture that was around us, that had been there for thousands of years, and they had lost their way. You know, the Egyptians started using animals as the representation of creation and so forth. You know, humans walking around with alligator heads and all kind of stuff. So nah, man, it, you know what I'm saying, they had to come to an end. So we was given a new culture, and we failed it then, but it's not over yet. We still in the fight, and we owe it to humanity to wake up and do what we supposed to do. And it's like this brother say, he hate religion. He don't know he dealing with the main religion killer. You know, that's what the Israelite Brotherhood stand for. You know, that's what the Israelite Brotherhood stand for. You know, and he said he a religion, you know what I'm saying? He hate religion. But you see what they say. You see what they say. What they say. What they say. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, he been tricked. He done got tricked. They done tricked him. But I'm finna happy. Alright, in 1375 to 1100 BC is like 275 years in the book of Judges. It's that history. And we was throwed off. Alright, and then Samuel come on around about 1100 BC. And then we know the history of prophet Samuel, Saul, and King David. You know, from Samuel to King David, and King David come on around about, you know what I'm saying, he was the king of Judah 1010 BC, and he became the king over all Israel about 1003 BC. All right, from 1100 BC, you know what I'm saying, we was following the law from Samuel, Saul, and King David. It's like 130 years we was following the law, and we tried to, you know, but King David did, you know, we did a lot in that time. And then King David died around about 970 BC. 970 BC, King David gonna pass away, and Solomon come on. All right, and we know that Solomon was wicked, and how he had a relationship with those Egyptians, and how he tried, you know, how he built the Egyptian woman, that the house, you know what I'm saying, in the promised land, where it was just supposed to be the Creator's temple. You see, and no other outsiders temples to worship in the promised land. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't supposed to be going down, and Solomon failed at. And how the Jews say Solomon was a real wise man. No, Solomon slipped and brung the whole kingdom down, because it was at Solomon's doing and what he did that allowed Jeroboam to go to Egypt. You see, and when Jeroboam went into Egypt after Solomon tried to kill him, Jeroboam was from the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, we already done showed that the tribe of Ephraim mixed with some Egyptians. You see what I'm saying? Because they mamas. So then if you go to First Kings, all right, let's go to First Kings. All right, First Kings chapter 11, and you'll see it says, chapter 11 verse 26. And Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and Ephraimite of Zeruiah, Solomon's servant, whose mother name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. You know, because he was doing all this stuff, had all them women in our land from all them different lands building temples for him, and wasn't supposed to. So, you know, everybody was turning on Solomon and stuff. All right, and Solomon sought, therefore, so when you get down to 1140, and Solomon sought, therefore, to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt unto Shoshan. All right, this going to be the king of Egypt who was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. All right, Shawshank gonna be an Egyptian, an African from the Sahara, from the west side of the Nile that controlled Upper Egypt. And they would come out and help, Jeroboam. You know what I'm saying? With Rehoboam and stuff. The Egyptians come out. You know what I'm saying? They helped him and stuff. And Rob, they came out of slick Rob Rehoboam. All right, and then after Solomon's death, you see, and then Jeroboam came out of Egypt. You see, he came out of Egypt after Solomon's death, and then he throwed up the two golden calves. You see what I'm saying? The two golden calves. That Egyptian, the Egyptian golden calf represent about 5 religions. And we called it the Queen of Heaven. That Isis Horus stuff. And Isis, Horus, and Seth, them was some wicked gods. Seth and Horus playing with each other's semen and stuff. So the Egyptians gods are wicked too. So, all right, well, Jeroboam come out of Egypt and he brought 2 golden calves. The Egyptians already put that golden calf on us in Exodus when they Exodus with us. Well, here it is surfacing again. All right, and then as you read chapter 11, 1 Kings chapter 11, and then you get all the way down to no, that's 12. 1 Kings chapter 12, and then you get all the way down to 28, and you'll see where it says, and Jeroboam, this is what he did. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 golden calves. There's 2 of them this time, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. We know the kingdom split and that he had control over 10 tribes. All right, that mess would stay on us all the way to King Josiah cleaned it up around about 640 BC, and it was a prophecy for him to do it. So this is where the Messiah, all those Messiah doctrines and stuff that they pluck out of the scriptures that was prophesied in 931 BC, gonna cover Isaiah, where they took prophecies from, and he come on around about 735 BC. So they then took the prophecies about King Josiah and turned it into a demigod. Those people who we abandoned our heritage to, I ain't even got to their history yet. I'm still just doing this on the Egyptians, how they tricked us out, and how these individuals is rolling with the culture, with the people that tricked us out of our heritage. All right. Now, we see that Jeroboam come out of Egypt with the 2 golden calves. That's going to be 1 Kings 12, 28. All right. And we see it was a prophecy also for Josiah to clean that mess up too. And if you get down to 13, this is why, number 13 is bad to them, because if you look at the number 13 in a lot of the chapters, it has some history about those folks that's not favorable. That's like chapter 13 of Leviticus gonna go into the leprosy law, defining what's white skin and what's not clean and what's clean. You see what I'm saying? And then this right here gonna tell you that it was a prophecy for King Josiah to clean Egyptian worship up, and that's like a nightmare to those heathens, is to have their wickedness cleaned up. And that came to pass, and that started in chapter 13. All right. And behold, there came a man of Yah out of Judah by the word of the Elohim unto Bethel, and Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense, and he cried against the altar in the word of the Elohim, and said, Altar, 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 this saith the Elohim, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name, and upon thee shall he offer the priests of the high places that burn incense unto thee, and man's bones shall he burn upon thee. And that come to pass around about 640 BC. I'm going to show that too. So we know them Egyptians put their coach on us, trying to keep us from doing the covenant that Moses gave us, because like I said, they couldn't do no trade across the promised land to Mesopotamia. They couldn't go to Mesopotamia. They couldn't go to Mesopotamia and do trade if we got that covenant right there. So we was slick killing Egypt. We had the life or death of Egypt in our hands, and we didn't know it at the time. See, if we wouldn't have did that Egyptian culture and stopped them Egyptians from coming across the promised land to do trade with them evil, wicked Amorites and they kindreds in Mesopotamia area, that would have been the end of Egypt. Egypt would have vanished. They couldn't do nothing because they didn't have the power to come across. We was doing the covenant. You see, because the Creator would have been with us. So that would have been the death of Egypt, and that would have been the beginning of the death of the cultures in Mesopotamia whose foundation was in Jerusalem. You see what I'm saying? The Jebusites and them Amorites were the scribes. They had scribing ability for a long time. As I explained, and I'm going to probably explain it again. And that's why it's a distortion on what's Hebrew history and what's not Hebrew history, because we abandoned our heritage to those Babylonian scribes, and them individuals confused by it, and they don't know. All right, so we see it was a prophecy for King Josiah to clean the Egyptian religion up. All right, the Egyptians, let's show this. The Egyptians gonna hate King Josiah, and this also showed that it wasn't no 10 lost tribes too. If you start dealing with Second Chronicles chapter 30 and 34, this get rid of the 10 lost tribe doctrines that's been passed around, that's been passing as Israelite history. Like I say, it's the difference between Israelite history and Jewish history. Jewish history gonna be the myths that was created to destroy the Israelite history, and all that helped the people who got control of our heritage. If they create myths and lies that people believe in, then them having our heritage, they safe with it. You see what I'm saying? There's no challenge because everybody believe in false doctrines, and that's what these individuals are going through. You see what I'm saying? Some of them slick and kind of know it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he know it. You know what I'm saying? I believe he just a pure idiot. He don't know nothing. And this Merkaba dude, I'm gonna show you what he say too. He real wicked, real wicked. All right. King Josiah was supposed to clean that Egyptian religion up that Jeroboam had put on us. And also, if you go to Second Chronicles, this is going to be 13, verse 8. Second Chronicles 13, verse 8. You know, we was on that Jeroboam Egyptian religion for a long time. You know, see this... Second Chronicles 13, verse 8. And now ye think to withstand the kingdom of Yah, of the Elohim in the hand of the sons of David, and ye be a great multitude, and there are with you golden calves, which Jeroboam made for you for gods. See what I'm saying? They was on that mess for a long time until King Josiah cleaned it up. And King Josiah come on around about let me see, he was 8 years old when he come on the throne. It's gonna be about 632, 631, something like that. All right, and Prophet Jeremiah came around in his 13th year, and he was around during King Josiah's time. And if the tribes of Israel was there during King Josiah's time, then they're gonna be there during the Babylonians' time. See what I'm saying? They're going to be there during the Babylonians' time if they there during King Josiah's time, because this is after the Assyrian captivity. The Assyrians wasn't even on the map no more. Matter of fact, the Assyrians during this time was fighting for their life because the Babylonian Scythians, the Chaldeans with the Scythians, whose slick name is Ashkenazi code name is Scythian in history. They was at the Assyrians, the Babylonian Empire, and they destroyed Assyria in 612 BC. You see what I'm saying? So if you read Second Chronicles 34, and you'll see how King Josiah did just what that prophet told Jeroboam what happened with King Josiah. We was on the Egyptian religion since 931 BC, And King Josiah cleaned it up. And this is him cleaning it up right here. And let me see. 34. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Elohim, and walked in the ways of David his father, and declined neither to the right hand or to the left hand. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, he began to seek after the Yah of David his father. And in the 12th year he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem from the high places, and the groves, and the carved images, and the molten images. And they break down the altars of Balaam in the presence of the images that were on high above them. He cut down in the groves, in the carved images, in the molten images. He brake in pieces and made dust of them, and stewed it upon the graves of them that had sacrificed unto them. And he burnt the bones of the priests upon their altars, and cleansed Judah and Jerusalem. All right, he started in Judah and Jerusalem, cleaning the head base first, the foundation. All right. And so did he in the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, and Simon, even unto Naphtali, with their mattocks round about. So he done went all through Israel, starting to cleaning up, trying to get rid of the Egyptian religion that had been on us since Jeroboam days. You see what I'm saying? Them his priests that he just burnt their bones. All right, verse 7. And when he had broken down the altars in the groves, and had beaten the graven images into powder, and cut down all the idols throughout all the land of Israel, he returned to Jerusalem. So King Josiah just cleaned up the whole Israel right there. That's the whole Israel cleaned up. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't no 10 lost tribes. You see what I'm saying? So he just cleaned the whole Israel up. And then if you go to 2 Chronicles 30, all the tribes that wasn't mentioned under King Josiah gonna be mentioned under King Hezekiah, his great grandfather that was before him. And this is in 715 BC. All right, let's read some of this, because this is getting rid of the myths that the people we abandon our heritage to created. See, and that's why come these dudes don't believe in the Creator and don't believe in our history, because they believe in Jewish history, and they debating Hebrews that's pushing that history. So they ain't seeing no truth, and they don't know no truth. You see what I'm saying? All right, King Hezekiah, this is in 715 BC. And also, I'm going to show y'all something dealing with the people we abandoned our heritage to, how they was in our land too. All right. And Hezekiah sent to all Israel. Now, this is all Israel and Judah, and wrote letters unto Ephraim and Manasseh, that they should come to the house of the Elohim at Jerusalem to keep the Passover unto the Elohim Yah of Israel. For the king had taken counsel, and his princes and all the congregation in Jerusalem, to keep the Passover in the 2nd month, for they could not keep it in the time, because the priests had not sanctified themselves sufficiently, neither had the people gathered themselves together to Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't ready. You know, so all kind of little stuff was holding them up. All right. And then, and the thing pleased the king and all the congregation, so they established a decree to make proclamation throughout all Israel, from Beersheba throughout all Israel. This is in 715 BC. The Assyrians is not the problem anymore. You see what I'm saying? All right. And then he made a proclamation throughout all Israel and Judah, according to the commandment of the king, saying, Ye children of Israel, turn again unto the Elohim Yah of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, and he will return to the remain of you that are escaped out of the hands of the king of Assyria. Okay, he just said that these folks didn't escape the Assyrians. Let's read this over again. This is in 715 BC. So the post went with the letters from the king and his princes throughout all Israel and Judah, according to the commandment of the king, saying, Ye children of Israel, turn again unto the Elohim Yah of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, and he will return to the remain of you that are escaped out of the hands of the king of Assyria. And then as you read down, and then you get to verse 10, you'll see it says, So the post passed from city to city throughout the country of Ephraim, Manasseh, even unto Zebulun. But they laughed them to scorn and mocked them. Now this is 7 years after the Syrian captivity and stuff. And these Hebrews at home laughing and mocking folks just coming and tell them to come to the Passover dinner and celebrate. So you know that Assyrian captivity wasn't what they say it was. All right. And then when you get down to verse 11, nevertheless, the verse of Asher, Manasseh, and Zebulun humbled themselves and came to Jerusalem. See what I'm saying? So them tribes is there after the Assyrian captivity. He even said that they escaped. You see what I'm saying? And this is in 715 BC. And when you get down to verse 18, you'll see, for a multitude of the people, even many of Ephraim and Manasseh, Ishkar, and Zebulun had not cleansed themselves, yet they did eat the Passover otherwise than it was written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, the good Elohim pardon everyone. You see what I'm saying? So all the tribes was there. And this is in 715 BC. And the ones that's not mentioned here going to be mentioned in King Josiah's, King Hezekiah's great-grandson, as I showed how he cleaned the whole Israel up. So it was no 10 lost tribes. And after King Josiah, we have the Babylonian problem. You see what I'm saying? But then let me show you where the lies and the people that we abandoned our heritage to when we went into Africa in the book of Jeremiah. I'm going to tie that in after I show you where the Jews come from. All right, if you go to 2 Kings chapter 17. 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 24. Turn right to it. And then you see that word Sepharavim. You see it right there. You see that word Sepharavim. You see it. Alright, that's the Hebrew word for Sephardi. That's the only word that they ain't translated in the Bible, because I believe if they would have translated and let everybody know that Sepharavim means Sephardi, that people would be up in arms and stuff about, what's going on and stuff, and how that they ain't the Hebrews, and how we been enslaved by people, you know what I'm saying, of that origin and stuff. That's like Sepharavim is the Hebrew word for Sephardi. It equals Sephardi and Sephardic and Sephardim. Sephardic are just the Sephardis that mixed in Europe. They got mostly white skin. And the Sephardims are the ones that mix with the pigmented peoples, like in East Africa, North Africa, and so forth. But they made Jews all around the world. In China, India, the Polynesian alien, Indonesia, Malaysia, and China. They had this organization called the Randanites. They was capitalists, and they did trade all around the world. So you're going to find Hebrew artifacts. These people, the Canaanites, spoke Hebrew. It was their language that we spoke. You see, they spoke Hebrew and stuff. So you might find some Hebrew artifacts in other lands, because the Amorites, who are the Randanites, who are the Sephardi Jews. The Sephardi Jews are the pure Amorites in a sense. And they did trade everywhere. Babylon did trade all around the world before we was even a Hebrew nation. Well, these people was placed in our land. And like I say, they was Babylonian scribes. They were scribes already. They had been scribes writing Babylon history for almost 2,000 years before we was even born and even came about. So they had a head start on defining governments. Matter of fact, they had the first governments. All the governments that are set up today basically come from them. That the Nimrod had the first government where they tried to organize the people into a government, and then they followed him in his rule and abandoned the creator rules and what the creator, wanted you to do and stuff. So, they gonna come from that era dealing with Nimrod. So they gonna be archiving history for a long time. So these people would get our heritage, and they was placed in our heritage in 722 BC when the king of Assyria brung them there. They was hating on us, all of them working against us. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cutter and from Ava and from Hamath and from Sepharvaim and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. You see what I'm saying? And these people tried to follow our heritage and stuff, or what we had in Samaria. You know, the northern kingdom was doing and stuff. And it says, as you get down and keep reading, you know what I'm saying, you get down to 32, and it said, so they feared the Elohim and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the highest of the high places. You know what I'm saying? They feared the Elohim and served their own gods and the manner of the nations whom they carried away from them. So they was doing everything. And look, they was allowed to be because the Assyrians took the fighters. See, this is where that 10 lost tribe myth come from. And them people created it. See what I'm saying? Them people created it. All right, let me show you how they was here with King Hezekiah at the Passover dinner. This is 7 years after they was placed. You know, 7 years after they was placed, they came to the Passover dinner. Turn right to it. All praise to you, Almighty God. All right, if you read down to verse 2 Chronicles chapter 30, verse 25, you'll see it says, and all the congregation of Judah and the princes and the Levites and all the congregation that come out of Israel and the strangers that come out of the land of Israel and that dwelt in Judah rejoice. See, them people came to the Passover dinner. King Hezekiah had about 30,000 sheep and cattle and bulls cooked and sacrificed for the people to eat. And them people came to the music and the partying and stuff. And that's going to be them Sepharvaim, them Sephardi Jews. They going to be like in our land 134 years before Ashkenazi show up under the name Chaldean, under the name Ashkenazi, under the name Scythian. They made up the Chaldean army. You see, but these people, the Sepharvaims, were placed in our land when the fighters for the northern kingdom was took away. If you go to First Chronicles, yeah, that's gonna be First Chronicles. First Chronicles chapter 5. All right, this where that 10 lost tribe myth come from. You know, they got to say that 10 tribes left and disappeared through a magic waterfall, and then they be using those books that they created, the Jews created after during the Greek era. See, because we abandoned our heritage to them during the Babylonian wars, and it was like a 1% that was taken to Babylon. And when they came back, they got destroyed so fast because they started mixing with them peoples in our land that we couldn't mix with, and passing heritage off to them. And those was the people that the Creator said don't mix with from the beginning. So the Greeks come in and killed them real fast. And I'm going to try to cover their history too. Alright, this right here, when the Assyrians took the fighters away from the northern kingdom and then placed those scribes in our land, they was being slick too. Alright, if you go to, this going to be First Chronicles, chapter 5, verse 18. The sons of Reuben and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh, valiant men able to bear buckler and sword and to shoot with bow and skillful in war, 40,703 score that went out to war. So those gonna be the people that the Assyrians needed, because the Assyrians was having a hard time with them white folks with them crossbows on them horses, the Scythians that was destroying the Assyrian Empire, because Prophet Num had already told Assyria it was over with, that was done and through, because Prophet Jonah had went there in 740 BC to tell them to leave them Scythians and them other folks alone and stop fooling with them. And the Syrians start fooling with them, and we hired the Assyrians in our proxy wars, Judah and Israel, because the northern kingdom was on Egyptian religion and the southern kingdom was following the Creator and King David ways. You see what I'm saying? Our last good king. And they was trying to hold on to what we was supposed to been doing. And them Assyrians, when they came in, they took the fighters, and that allowed them to place those scribes in our land. All right, we see how, you know, the Reuben and Gad and Manasseh them was fighters. All right, and then as you get over to verse 26, and it says, and the Yah of Israel stirred up the spirit of Paul, king of Assyria, and the spirit of Taliplasner, king of Assyria, and he carried them away, even the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh, and brought them unto Hela and Heber and and unto the river Gazana to this day. That's the same river that prophet Ezekiel was taken to in 570 and 595 BC. All right, but if you go to Joel, it's gonna be, let's see what the prophet Joel. Yeah, the prophet Joel was sent, you know what I'm saying? He even said that the northern army would be taken. That's fine. All right, here we go. That's going to be Joel 2:20. Joel 2:20. All right. See Joel 2:20? All right, prophet Joel wrote in 835 BC. And he said this, remember the northern kingdom army was taken in 722 BC. All right, but I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, and his face toward the east sea, and his hinder paws toward the uttermost sea, and his stink shall come up, and his ill favor shall come up, because he had done great things. You know what I'm saying? They took the northern kingdom, the northern army to Assyria to help them fight against the Babylonians, because the Babylonians was finna put the Assyrians lights out, and that's what's called the Seti history in Egypt, when Egypt and the Assyrians were united together. And prophet Isaiah had even prophesied that if you go to this, how you know that it wasn't no 10 lost tribes like them people say, because if it was, then you would see Ethiopians, Egyptians that was part of the captivity. You see, you have Europeans and all kind of folks trying to claim that they Israelites, but this stopped them, because if the Hebrews was taken magically somewhere during the Syrian times, which I showed that that's impossible, because everybody was at home under King Hezekiah and King Josiah, how everybody was at home. So we know that's impossible. So if you read Isaiah, this is going to be like in 725 BC. This is 3 years before them Sephardi Jews was placed in our land, the Sephardims. And the word Jew come from Jebusites, because they Jebusites also. All right. Let me see. If you get to verse, this gonna be, all right, this is gonna be Isaiah 20, verse 3. And the Elohim said, look, as my servant Isaiah had walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign and wonder upon Egypt and upon Ethiopia, so shall the king of Assyria lead away the Ethiopian and Egyptian captives, young and old, naked and barefoot, even with their buttocks uncovered with the shame of Egypt. So we know that the Egyptians was taken in the Assyrian captivity also. You see what I'm saying, with the Hebrews. So we know that the peoples in Europe and all them other peoples can't be Hebrews, because the Ethiopians and the Egyptians were taken captives to Assyria. You see what I'm saying? So we know that, you know, them other people telling lies. And how I'm going to show you that they telling lies is because, like I showed, that all the Hebrews was around during King Hezekiah time and King Josiah times. You see, this is 715 BC all the way to the Babylonian War started around about 595 BC, that ended, you know, with us running into Africa in 588 BC. Okay, this show that we ran into Africa. All right, if you go to 2 Kings chapter 25. 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 26. You will see it says that this is during the Babylonian Wars. I already showed you how King Hezekiah and King Josiah, his great-grandson, had all the tribes there after the Assyrian captivity. So it's impossible for the Hebrews to have got 10 tribes taken to Assyria and then end up through a magic waterfall and all these different places and stuff, you know. So that's a lie, and that was created by those people we abandoned our heritage to. All right, if you go to 2 Kings, this is during the Babylonian Wars when we was chased up off the land for saying that we didn't want to do the covenant no more. All right, if you go to 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 26. And all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldeans. All right, the Chaldeans, like I said, were Scythians. And Scythian code name in history is Ashkenazi. You can type that in the computer, you know what I'm saying, and they'll tell you right now today that Scythian and Ashkenazi is the same people, the same in the same region, in the same everything. You see what I'm saying? And that's like a lot of you Hebrews be saying, the Khazars, the Jews are the Khazars. Man, the Ashkenazi and the Sephardi Jews been around almost 2,000 years before the Khazars come about. And the Khazars are Togarmar's son. That's going to be Ashkenazi youngest brother. That's going to be Japhet youngest son. And if you read the Khazars' history, they're going to tell you that they come from Togarmar. And we know that the Khazars come on around about 600 AD or something like that, and went out around about 960 AD. So, you know, the Jews had been Jews and then archived and chronologized their history for almost 2,000 years before the Khazars come about. So when you Hebrews be saying that Khazar stuff, you already know you don't know no history. And when you Hebrews say the 10 lost tribes, you don't know no history. When you Hebrews say we went into Africa in 70 AD, you don't know no history, because Tigris the Great, the Armenian king, took about 20,000 Jews from the Promised Land around about 50 BC and took them to Armenia, and none of them was black. Man, I'm going to go into that history in a minute too. But this 2 Kings, during the Babylonian Wars, like I said, King Josiah had everybody at home. The Babylonian Wars will be next, because the Egyptians would kill King Josiah after he cleaned the Egyptian religion up and put us immediately on the Egyptian religion. The Creator would send Ashkenazi, the Chaldeans, the people from the north, the worst people, the warmongers who keep the wars going, would send them to chase us up off the land, because it was over with. We couldn't keep playing fiddle-faddling with the covenant. We had been playing with the covenant all the way since we Exodus. We ain't really had no good long time on the covenant. You see what I'm saying? We did the majority of our worship 200 years, 275 years of Amorite worship, 300 years of the Egyptian worship. Man, it's about 500-600 years of fooling off and not doing the covenant. And we only had 800 years in the Promised Land. You see what I'm saying? We only had 800 years in the Promised Land. So from 1375, we didn't have no long time in the Promised Land to the time the Babylonians chased us into Africa. So we didn't have a long time to set no culture up or do nothing. We fiddle-faddled the whole time. And now these people trying to keep us to sleep with the help of these Negroes. All right, so we see that the Hebrews ran into Africa. Let me read this again. And all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they was afraid of the Chaldeans. That's all the tribes. That's all the tribes mentioned in Hezekiah time and King Josiah time. Now let's go to the book of Jeremiah. This is when we said that we wasn't going to do the covenant no more. And this caused it all. We had already been tricking off with the Egyptian religion for the longest, as I've showed, going all the way back to when Pharaoh and them planted they a seed on us and stuff. All right, if you get to chapter 44, this is at the end. Really, man, if you go to chapter 42, man, it tell you, man, some of the foul stuff we did. How when the Babylonians came and chased us off, and how we was going into Africa, how we asked the prophet Jeremiah to go speak to the Creator for us and see what we should do. Now we done already come up off the land and say, go see what we should do. Go ask the Creator what we should do, prophet Jeremiah, and whatever he say, we gonna do it. And we didn't do it. And he come back with the word, and we said something entirely different. Check this out. I'm gonna show it to you. All right. Then let me see. All right. And said unto Jeremiah. All right. Then all the captains of the forces. This is chapter 42. Then all the captains of the forces, and Johan the son of Ker, and Jezaniah the son of Hoshea, and all the people from the least even unto the greatest came near, and said unto Jeremiah the prophet, Least let we beseech thee, our supplications be accepted before thee, and pray for us unto the Elohim thy Yah, even for all this remain, for we are left but a few of many, as then eyes behold, that the Elohim thy Yah may show us the way wherein we may walk, in the things that we may do. We was playing right there. We was playing with the Creator. All right. Then Jeremiah the prophet said unto them, I have heard you. Behold, I will pray unto the Elohim your Yah according to your words, and it shall come to pass that whatsoever thing the Elohim shall answer you, I will declare it unto you. I will keep nothing back from you. Then they said to Jeremiah, the Elohim be a true and faithful witness between us, if we do not even according to the word, to all the things for which the Elohim thy Yah shall send thee to us. So we saying whatever the Creator say do, we gonna do it. I mean, we was stuck between a rock and a hard place. The Egyptians that way, and the Babylonians behind us, and it was fire on both ends, and we was in the middle. You see what I'm saying? We were stuck between a rock and a hard place. And if you read the book of Lamentations, you will see we was dirty, wet, and nasty. We was messed up. And we was being chased off the promised land. It was a disgraceful sight because it's wrote down. It was messed up. We was some dirty, wet, low down idol worshipers getting kicked out the land. You know what I'm saying? The Egyptians seeding and blossomed into some wickedness, and it was over with for us then. That's why we get a new culture. We get to do this over, and we're not going to let these suckers railroad us and keep us from our heritage, talking about we ain't no Hebrews. These Negroes crazy. All right, check this out. All right. So, we told the prophet Jeremiah to go to the Creator and see what he would do. This is after we was chased off the land. All right, then he said then they said unto Jeremiah, the Elohim be a true and faithful witness between us, if we do not even according to all the things for which the Elohim thy Yah shall send to thee to us, whether it be good or whether it be evil. We will obey the voice of the Elohim, the Elohim our Yah, to whom we send thee, that it may be well with us when we obey the voice of the Elohim our Yah. And it come to pass after 10 days that the word of the Elohim came unto Jeremiah. Then called he Ker and the sons, Johan and the sons of Ker, and all the captains of the forces which were with him, and all the people from the least even unto the greatest, and said unto them, This saith the Elohim, the Yah of Israel, unto you, whom ye sent me to present your supplications before him. If ye will abide in the land, and then I will build you, and will not tear you down, and I will plant you, and will not pluck you up. But if you repent me of the evil that I have done to you, but be not afraid of the king of Babylon, whom ye are afraid of. Be not afraid of him, said the Elohim, for I am with you to save you and to deliver you from his hands. See, and then as you got to reading on down, we told the prophet Jeremiah that no, the Creator didn't say that. He didn't say don't go into no Egypt. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get to chapter 44, and then you get to verse 15, 16, 17, and 18, you will see that this was a state of mind. This was a state of mind. All right. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by a great multitude, even all the people that dwelled in the land of Petros, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Elohim, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do so whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our kings, our princes, in the streets of Judah and in the cities of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of food, and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. Okay, Hebrews, we didn't come back from that. We never recovered 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 from that. And I'm going to show you how we never recovered from that. We never recovered from that. For the simple fact is that it was a percentage taken to Babylon. 1%. And the prophet Isaiah summed their whole heritage up. They was taken to Babylon, and then when they come back in 538 BC, they didn't record us coming out of Africa, the millions, the 99%, all the tribes. As I've shown that all the tribes was there during King Hezekiah time, and all the tribes was there during King Josiah time. So it's impossible to have been 10 lost tribes. You see what I'm saying? When all the tribes was still at home. So we know that that 10 lost tribe doctrine is a lie. You see what I'm saying? It's a lie. Okay, the Hebrews, if they didn't go into Assyria and everybody at home, like I just showed, and everybody went into Africa and didn't return after the Babylonian wars ended, it's because you got the book of Ezra, Nehemiah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi from 538 BC to 430 BC. And it's a known fact that if we would have been in Africa from the book of Jeremiah, from 588 BC, the book of Malachi, to is 168 years we would have been in Africa to the end of the book of Malachi. We didn't come back home, the Queen of Heaven worshipers. And then by the time the Greeks show up in 332 BC, we would have been in Africa 256 years. And it's a known fact that when we went into Africa to worship the Egyptian religion, that Nebuchadnezzar was right behind us, and that the Babylonians controlled Egypt. The Babylonians controlled Egypt to Babylon for 50 years until the Persians defeated the Babylonians. You see what I'm saying? And allowed those exiles to come home who we in Africa never reunited with. We didn't come back out of Africa to be with them. That's why we fed all the curses in to show you how low down the system is, how evil and wicked the system is. The person who killed King Josiah, old Wicked Necho II, they got him in New York City, in a museum. And then they got the obelisk that we was enslaved with in Egypt at the beginning of our servitude, making bricks for the Egyptian system. They got it in a Central Park. It's called the Cleopatra Needle. So these two elements let you know that we in the Egypt, because these two elements are associated with our downfall. This is the Egypt that the Creator spoke to, saying that the Hebrews will be taken to in ships. That's why all the curses fit us, and our history is identical to the curses, because we are the Hebrews that broke the covenant in the book of Jeremiah. And these dudes right here trying to damn y'all. You see what I'm saying? See, these dudes trying to damn y'all. trying to keep y'all lost. And especially this individual, he real wicked. General said it. And this brother, the Emperor Atheist, he wicked too. You see what I'm saying? All them wicked and stuff. And listen to this devil. The creation of the Bible and the Torah.
So first let me say this. I'm going to just break it down to you and just give it to you straight out flat before I prove my point.
Real
the
wicked.
Greeks made up the Old Testament. Plain and simple. This is what history is telling us. The Greeks came up with your Old Testament.
Alright. This dude is so wicked. The Babylonian scribes that we abandoned our heritage to in the book of Jeremiah, those Sephardi Jews, the Sephardims, controlled the Greek Empire. That's where they took out books and started translating our history. Everybody was in on it. All the organizations. But being that the Sephardims were scribes, they done merged into the other tribes. They kind of all become one. The Amorites, the Jebusites, and the Canaanites can all be seen in the Sephardi Jews, the Sephardims. Okay, they would go to Egypt and they would translate our heritage. That's like you got Egyptian kings claiming Israelite heritage. The Ptolemies. You see what I'm saying? The Lichimas and the Ptolemies. I got their history in detail, how they destroyed the exiles. And I'm going to show you how they destroyed the exiles real fast. You see what I'm saying? And when they destroyed the exiles, the Babylonian scribes moved in real fast and started reconstructing our history. We was already in Africa cut off. We didn't take no scribes into Africa with us to worship Egyptian religion. We didn't take no scribes into Africa to record a covenant that we couldn't do off the promised land. We had totally abandoned our heritage at 100% when we said that we wanted the African Egyptian religion. And we went into Africa and we left our heritage to the Babylonian scribes. And the Babylonian scribes are responsible for Babylon history. And they gonna create gods, God's sons, and all kind of old wicked stuff. You see what I'm saying? They gonna create all kind of old wicked stuff. You see what I'm saying? And that's what happened to us. And that no Hebrew went here. All right. Yeah. See, I'm gonna show you the exiles being destroyed. Okay, let's go to 720. I turned right to it. All praise be Almighty Yah. I turned right to it. The book of Isaiah. This is gonna be in 625 BC. I'm gonna get down to the most important part. But Prophet Isaiah summed up the whole captivity of what we went through, and he explained what would happen to the exiles. The 10th that was taken far away, that come back to the land that was destroyed because they started trying to pass our heritage over to them other folks that we wasn't supposed to. All right. If you go to Isaiah chapter 6, and then you get down to verse 9. Let's start at 9, because you know you can read the whole chapter, but it's gonna come down to this right here, this good juicy part right here. And he said, go tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, and shut their heart, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and be converted. He talking about us, Prophet Isaiah, put us to sleep. Then said I, Elohim, how long? And he said, until the cities be wasted without inhabited, in the houses without men, in the land be utterly desolate. The only time that happened where we didn't have no Hebrews in the land is in the book of Jeremiah, when we said that we was going into Africa to worship the Egyptian religion, and that tent was taken to Babylon, who came back when the Persians freed them. And how you know this? If you go to Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 2. Verse 2 says, this said the Elohim of hosts. This is during the Babylonian wars. This said the Elohim of hosts, the Yah of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon all the cities of Judah, and behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth therein. So it wasn't nobody in the promised land for 50 years. You was either in Africa, the millions, or you was that little old tenth, what I call the 1%, taken to Babylon. You see what I'm saying? And they didn't get freed till the Persians freed them. So we know that came to pass. Then said I, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without men, and the land be utterly desolate. And the Elohim have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. That only happened during the book of Jeremiah at our last. This when we was being chased away, when we forsake the covenant by saying that we was going into Egypt to worship the Egyptian religion, that we was going into the Sahara to worship their religion, because that's all Egypt is the Sahara, that we was going into the Sahara to worship their religion, and we forsake the covenant. All right. And the Elohim have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. All right, that removing far away was that 10th taken to Babylon. The prophet Ezra, Nehemiah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi cover that history. All right, but yet in it shall be a 10th, and it shall return, and shall be eaten as a teal tree, and as a oak whose substance is in them when they cast their leaves. So the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. So that's death to the exiles right there. You know, that's saying that the exiles, because they are the 10th that made it home. But yet in it shall be a 10th, and it shall return, and shall be eaten as a teal tree, and as a oak whose substance is in them when they cast their leaves. That's a dead tree. So the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. That was the exiles that come back from Babylon that started to mix with the nations that we wasn't supposed to mix with. We couldn't pass our heritage over to the people that was in our land. And it was a whole bunch of people in our land. As I've showed all the enemies that was in our land, it was a bunch of them. It was a bunch of nations that pulled up. See, right here, look at this. All right. Then wrote Rome the counselor, and Shimi the scribe, that's the Babylonian scribes, and the rest of the companions, the Danites, the Archiphites, the Tapharites, the Archiphites, the Archphizophites, the Babylonians, the Shushanites, the Devites, and the Elamites, and the rest of the nations whom Asaph are brought over. It was a whole bunch of them. And then if you get to Nehemiah, I think it's Nehemiah 9, you'll see that it says, let me see, is it Nehemiah? All right, it's going to be Ezra 9. Yeah, Ezra 9, you'll see that, look, when these things were done, and the princes come to me, saying, the people of Israel have, and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the land, doing according to the abominations even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites, and the Moabites, and the Amorites, everybody. See, they was mingling, and they was starting to pass, we were starting to pass the heritage over to the foreigners that couldn't be Israelites, that the Creator never made this specific covenant that he gave Moses. They coming from an old covenant, the Amorite covenant. You see what I'm saying? And we wasn't supposed to mix up with them. And we was mixing with them, passing our heritage over to them. That's going to be the exiles, because the millions ran into Africa during the Babylonian wars. You know? And we were starting to pass our heritage over. And the Greeks come in and killed them off so fast that it left hardly no trace in history. And you would think that the history continued all the way down to the New Testament time, but that's false. You know, that's like Herd was an Edomite, and Herd temple, old Jesus prayed in it. Ain't no way in the world that no Hebrews would have been praying in Herd temple, knowing that he was an Edomite, and knowing that the Edomites were associated with our downfall. You see what I'm saying? And that the Edomites helped the Babylonians chase us out the land. So we know that the people in the New Testament can't be Hebrews. And it's 187,000 days difference from the Tanakh history in the creation of the New Testament. The Tanakh ends at 430 BC. 430 BC. Matter of fact, the last person recorded in the Tanakh is going to be one of King David's descendants, Ananiah. 420 BC. After that, no more Hebrews. No more Hebrews. This is the last of the Hebrews. This is the last of King David's descendants right here. King David's line to the end right here. And if you look, and you will see that this genealogy that we constructed don't match the genealogy given to Jesus in Matthew's 1:30 and in that Luke book. You see what I'm saying? And that Aeneas, the brother right there, Ananias, was the last Hebrew right there recorded, right there. And then it's over with. That's 420 BC. He's going to be the last ruler, the last descendant that had a little control that was from the line of David. Then it's over with. You know what I'm saying? And Jesus' genealogy does not match this. Jesus' genealogy does not match Chronicles 3. Chronicles 1:3. You know, it's a whole bunch of stuff going on, Hebrews. All right, this individual, wicked, the real Merkabah. He real diabolical and evil. He real evil. This individual is evil and wicked too. He evil and wicked. And this person right here trying to steal our heritage, trying to say that we ain't the Hebrews, when we the Hebrews that broke the covenant for Egyptian religion. Easy to show. I just proved this, Hebrews. I just proved this. So pass this video around and have others Hebrews view this video so they can see their heritage. It's a whole lot of history I can go in, but this is just the basic to get you started, so you'll know that these individuals telling lies on our heritage. Don't believe them dudes. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Shalom, Hebrews. This Israel been Israel. And like I said, that Jesus stuff, that New Testament, man, it's easy to defeat that history. It's easy to defeat that history. Jesus prayed in Herd Temple. Jesus prayed in Herd Temple. And Herd was an Edomite. And the Promised Land was Edomites officially since 130 BC, when John Heinekes converted all the Edomites to the Jewish religion, and they became one. You know, I can go into New Testament history easy, but this the Edomite temple Jesus prayed in, and it was a bunch of Jesus. Jesus being Anath, Jesus being Starter, Jesus being Gamaliel, Jesus being Shadrach, Jesus being Aeneas. It was a bunch of them. And they combined all their history, them people who we abandoned our heritage to, them Babylonian scribes. They're responsible for all the lies told about Hebrew history. And I'm going to start giving up names and showing their names next time. Shalom, Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. We are the Hebrews, and it's easy to show it.